The Wave winning their first championship back in 1998. And back then it was a 7-game series that the Wave defeated the Ambush 4 games to 1. The Wave jumped out to a 3-0 lead in the series. Ambush came back and won game 4, and then the Wave came back and behind. Was that the year Chris Jarr scored the 3 goals?
Sure was.
First championship won at the Bradley Center back in 1999.
First of 6 for the Milwaukee Wave. Lemos coming all the way forward, had a shot that was turned away, but fortunately for him, the Wave got out by Tens and Rampas. Milwaukee will keep the possession. Now Ruggles winning from Milwaukee. Drew will back it up. He and Vega the defenders right now. With Chino, Kane, Andre thought about. He scored in a spectacular one against the Emperors last week. Laid it back. And a shot by Ruggles just a bit wide. And as Chino battled for the rebound, he was fouled on the play. Let's take a look at our Wisconsin Vision instant replay. As you see, Pepe got a little bit too much of Chino there. Chino got the backside of his boot right into his nose. But that was after he had already been fouled.
Welcome everybody watching on MASL TV. We had a little sound problem, technical difficulties. Apparently there is sound, a bit of an echo, Tom, so we'll continue to work on it for the folks listening live.
I'm sure some of the fans are probably enjoying the game more when one of the sound comes from us, but nonetheless, we are glad to make audio contact again.
Well, Michael Torres, who's one of the fans that watches the MASL games, he's got a lot of questions on what's going on with the audio. So, Michael, keep your questions coming, and we'll get them answered for you, bud.
Gibson trying to get past Diego on the far side. He is knocked down. The foul is called. Again, J.D. Walter and Nick Ramos, the two officials working tonight's game. Looks like still got some fans trickling in here. Remember, this game was originally listed as a noon start when the schedule first came out. And due to a scheduling situation with the UW Milwaukee basketball team that also plays here, was pushed back to 7 o'clock. There's a shot straight on by Clayton that was turned away. Here he is now. First extended possession for him. Drops it back for Matty Blade, and he'll play it all the way back to the keeper, Paulo. So we talked about pregame, Art. Not really looking for the Ambush to push the pace tonight. A, because they were very successful in playing the conservative game against the Wave. Well, successful except for the fact they didn't win the game in overtime, but also the fact they have a quick turnaround and a game tomorrow afternoon at 3:05 against Cedar Rapids in St. Louis. So might want to try to conserve a bit of energy. Great save there by Lemos as he turned away the blast by Matty.
Well, whether they played tomorrow night or not, I don't think it was going to really factor into the strategy, defensive strategy of sitting back. I mean, that's going to be the recipe to have any success with these two teams matching up, would be to sit back against the Waves' high-power attack.
Ricardinho with a slick move there to free up for the shot, but he's off target up in the stands. That'll bring us to our media timeout.
You talked about their matchup with Cedar Rapids tomorrow, Tom, and
That's a 3-2 Harrisburg lead at halftime of that one. And then a little bit later on tonight, it's Tacoma. The Stars will be hosting the Salt Lake State Sonora. Sonora, the two-time defending runners-up. A bit of urgency here already in the first third of the season with their relatively slow starts. There's Paulo, the goalkeeper for St. Louis, on the distribution to throw it in. Only goal of the contest thus far was the tally by Max Ferdinand, his 7th of the year, on the assist from Ian Bennett at 53 seconds of the period. Now, loose ball, Bennett centering, shot, and goal! Misplay by the ambush. And Milwaukee makes them pay. It's 2-0 Milwaukee.
Poor ball that time by Jake Causey. Back to the goalkeeper, Paulo. And put Paulo in a bad situation. He got his pocket picked. And away with the defensive pressure goal there. You see Bennett. And then the tap in. You're not going to have any easier than that for Max Ferdinand. So the combination of Bennett and Ferdinand strikes again. This time through their defense.
Max with both goals tonight. He's got 8 on the season. And Ian Bennett's flipping the script, if you will, Art. He's been the playmaker on each of the goals by Ferdinand here so far tonight. Max, again, the league's leading playmaker with 12 assists coming in. And Ian now with a pair of assists. He's got 5 on the year. Both guys with 20 points, second in the league scoring race behind Ivan Campos.
Well, we know with Max Ferdinand, his technical ability produces a lot of goals. Ian Bennett, wonderful finisher, his speed produces a lot of goals. But when you see these guys starting to create goals from the defensive side of the ball, boy, that really puts a dynamic that lifts them both to another level. That's a great defensive pressure goal that time by Ian Bennett and Max Ferdinand.
And the IMAX tandem continues to roll. Third season that it's been together. And it has been dynamic ever since Max arrived prior to the 2015-16 season.
See a lot of great attacking players that are just that. They're great in the attack, but they don't defend very well. Now, these guys are doing it at both ends this season. One of the reasons the Wave is off to a 7-0 start.
6.5 to go, first period, foul on the ambush. And Milwaukee will keep the possession. Daniel Matos not in the lineup for the Wave tonight. He is not going to be available for the next couple of games. And the same for defender Chad Vandergriff, although Chad is recovering from a toe injury, we may possibly see him back for the 22nd in Kansas City. That's the Wave's next game.
Now the rich get richer when Vandergriff comes back, one of the top defensive players in the league.
Lemos trying to cover up at the post, could get a hand on it, cleared up the near board. Mattingly eventually gets it for St. Louis. Now Gibson working on Ruggles, big strong guy, turning shot is off the mark. Drew Gibson could definitely be tough to handle in there. He is a pretty good-sized guy, and he's got the ability to turn and shoot with either foot.
Spoke to Wave Captain Tenzin Rampa earlier today. He alluded to that fact of Gibson and Stephon St. Louis being very difficult physical matchups.
Stephon as well, yeah, of course. He played here in Milwaukee for a couple of seasons. You look at Stephon right there, gets called for the foul as he banged Viega into the boards.
Good 1v1 defending that time by Viega. Understanding that St. Louis, his tendency is to go to the right.
And now Guilherme is going to be issued a yellow card for complaining. Again, the foul was on San Luis, but perhaps Diego thought there should have been more than that. And you can tell Guilherme not very happy. He goes to the box 5 minutes on the descent call. That's our first penalty of the contest.
There's one area, Tom, the way players can work on here as the season goes along is picking and choosing your battles. You know? I mean, the referees, they're going to make mistakes. Not saying that was a mistake to put them in the box, but pick and choose your battle. You got the lead. You're 7-0.
Yeah, you alluded to that last week, Art, that is an area perhaps Wade could focus on a bit. You certainly don't want guys to take themselves out of the lineup unnecessarily. Ricardinho trying to turn, but has it poked away, and Paulo picks it up.
Absolutely not. And understanding that there's going to be bigger games down the stretch. You're going to get into the playoffs. You want guys to be able to play with composure. I mean, look at Giuliano Oliveira. No more composed guy than Giuliano. The assistant coach, Marcelo Fontana. These guys are calm, non-confrontational type of guys. And you hope at some point that the team starts to take on the personality of those two men who were quite successful in their playoff careers.
Well, those guys, outstanding players on the field, and not to be confused with the lack of intensity as Haywood shot, but they put the energy into playing against their opponent rather than taking it out on the officials.
No intensity. Marcelo Fontana has a ton of intensity.
And Giuliano as well,
yes.
No question about it. Part of the reason those guys were so successful and had such long careers was their competitive intensity on the field. Lemos chips over the top. Ian Bennett coming in. Ian, what a shot to goal! There's a potential goal of the week. Wave leads at 3-0.
Talked about what they can do in the offensive end and the abilities they bring. That time, watch the first touch by Ian Bennett. A soft touch off his right thigh, and then a full volley out of the air that beat Paulo up high. Watch again. Look at this first touch. Set it on a platter for himself, and then Paulo sprawling but couldn't get there to make the save.
That is a big-time conversion there. Ian Bennett with a goal and 2 assists tonight. Plush held to just 1 goal in 2 games last weekend. You're not going to see him get shut down like that too often. And he's already got a goal and 2 assists here tonight.
Nicely weighted ball that time by the goalkeeper, Lemos. And the Wave. The recipe for success was to get the early goal, extend that lead, and see what Everton decides to do tactically. Do they come out of their defensive shell? At what point? Because when you're down 3-0 to sit back, it becomes very difficult to get back in the game.
It's too quiet in here. Let's bring those. Bring those down.
.343 left to go, first period, and the Wave now leading 3-0 after the latest goal by Ian Bennett. His league leading, tying 16th of the season, tying Ivan Campos from Turlock. Josh Lemos with the assist. And the Wave goalkeeper, who scored a goal with his feet against St. Louis last week, gets his second assist of the year. But Josh having a great season on both ends of the field.
Arguably the best goalkeeper in the league with his feet. I don't even think it's close. Vanzella, he throws a lot. Not many as good as Lemos, if any. Danny Waltman comes to mind, pretty good with his feet.
Shot by Pepe was blocked. Wave puts it up ahead for Ferdinand, but it's broken up.
Like the kid Peter Sliwa from Florida, pretty good with his feet. This guy, Paulo. But Josh Lemos, I don't know if any team employs their goalkeeper in the attack as much as the Wave does with Lemos.
Ball chipped to the near wing. Dennison heads it to the middle looking for Renault. And Robert could not quite direct it on goal. That would have been a spectacular play. San Luis starts it out for St. Louis. Ferdinand cuts it off. Now here's Renault, R squared, trying to get around, and he's pounded down, but he gets back up and now takes the foul from Causey. Robert is just a low center of gravity ball control margin.
Amar what? What is it? Marzine, is that what you said? What is that?
He's somebody who can really control the ball.
I got you. Okay, I'm going to look that one up.
Utilizes that low center of gravity, and again, you know, he's not a short, stumpy little guy. We're not talking Dennison Cabral out there.
I said it a couple games ago. Giuliano Oliveira said he didn't pass the eye test when he first saw him, but very pleasing to the eye, as we have come to find out.
His tactical ability combined with his tenacity is really the combination that makes Robert just a tremendous player. And again, between him and Josh Lemos and Daniel Chamelet, who has not been on the active list yet, although we're hoping to get him back in a couple of years, a couple of weeks, I should say. But
Driveway, you wouldn't be much of an enthusiast at all.
Renault in the middle, lays it off, Marcio, shot and a goal! Oh, was that some execution? And again, Renault, the composure in the middle to be able to just flick it over to Marcio, and a guy's finish there, and the Wave leads it 4-0.
Watch the ambush defense this time, Tom. They've got all 5 players back defending this restart, but all 5 players just standing around watching. The initial pass goes to Renault right in the middle. Watch this now. Nobody moving. And Marcio with a virtual tap in at the back post. That just can't happen. That much time and space inside your penalty area on a restart. Won't be a restart goal because it wasn't a direct shot or a shot off a pass. But pretty much rack it up as a restart goal. And once again, St. Louis just standing around defensively.
Marcio gets his 6th of the year. He's got 12 points, including 6 assists. Now, takeaway by the ambush as Everton tried to set up both Adamson and Mr. Hernandez coming down the middle there, and ball deflects out of bounds. It will go to Milwaukee.
Saw Nestor Hernandez, number 88 for the Ambush, come flying in there at the end time. Did you see the play a few weeks ago on Vinny Dantas, where he came off the St. Louis bench and just annihilated Vinny? And it really wasn't, it was a good tackle, it was a clean tackle, but
really one of the most amazing tackles, if you will, Art, of all time. And, you know, it's interesting, at the time I actually saw the game, was watching live when it happened in the miniature confines of the Seacool Arena in Baltimore. But, you know, as Paul and Gary, the two voices of the Blast, Gary Stein, Paul Mittelmeyer, said that they've been doing games forever and never seen a play like that. And I got to say, I don't think I've ever seen a play like that.
No, Hernandez had just come off for a line change, and as I watched it again, all I could think of was whoever he was changing with wasn't ready to go on the field, so the guys on the bench told him, Nestor, get back on there, and he literally just jumped right off the bench. You know, never established position on the field, took one step and then just leveled Vinny Dantas with a tackle.
Some people said it was reminiscent of, you know, the few times in football where you've seen a guy come off the bench and tackle somebody as he's going to run down the field for a touchdown.
Was it Bo Schembechler or Woody Hayes that came out and tackled the, was it Woody, right? Woody Hayes?
That was, yeah, Woody Hayes in the Gator Bowl back in the 80s. Actually, I think what it was, the guy had already been taken out of bounds, but then Woody Hayes got a shot in on him. That was the last game Woody ever coached. For the old timers, and again, I guess I fit in that category now, considering my most recent birthday, but I think it was the 1952 Cotton Bowl was the most famous for a player coming off the bench who was not in the field of play when the play was happening, to tackle a guy who was going to run down the field for a touchdown. But that's really what it looked like if you get a chance to see
it looked like it. It doesn't compare because it wasn't an illegal substitution. They didn't have too many men on the field. Well, one thing we know is Nestor Hernandez had a heck of a lot more hair than Woody Hayes. So at least it was nicer to look at. But it was a nasty tackle, nasty Nestor, man. Just laid out Vinny Dantas.
Last 30 seconds of the first period, it has been a good one for Milwaukee as they lead it 4-0.
Got to be careful laying out guys named Vinny from the East Coast.
Big time.
I don't want any part of Vinny's from Baltimore or Philly, New York. I'm not going to not lay out any of those guys.
Well, especially Vinny Dantas. If you've ever seen that guy up close and personal. Well, that does it for the first period. Smiling Marcio Leite and the rest of his Wave teammates will take a 4-0 lead into the second quarter. And I'm sure some more fireworks still coming tonight. So don't go anywhere, fans. We'll be back with more. Milwaukee 4, St. Louis 0. This is Wave Soccer. with Art Kramer. 4-0 Wave. Well, Art, if you're the Wave, Julian Oliviero couldn't ask for a much better start to tonight's game. And I guess if you're ever Jim Herrera, you couldn't ask for a more disappointing start.
Yeah, we talked about it going in that you had two teams that are in opposite directions. Wave continuing on with what they've built and continues to go south for St. Louis. Everton, Mark Litton, the goalkeeper coach, Jamie Swanner, my former teammate with the Canton Invaders, down on the bench there. A lot of
I saw Tony Shelby down there as well. Yeah. Hasn't quite happened yet, but Everton and his group, including Pablo, did prove they could build a competitive franchise in Cedar Rapids. Obviously, that's what you're hoping for in St. Louis.
Well, the first order of business for St. Louis is just to get a win and go from there.
Whistle off the play as Viega got dumped. He's already been knocked around a few times tonight. Play puts it in play.
Looks like an ambush foul on number 9, Stefan
Grable came in with a shot that was wide. Stewart back to those trademark blue shoes tonight that have worked so well for the third-year veteran out of Neenah, Wisconsin. Now Dennison takes it away from Paulo. Oh, what work from Dennison to take it away from the St. Louis goalkeeper and set up Bennett.
The second defensive attack goal on the night for the Wave. And this time, as you said, Hans Dennison doing a great job of dispossessing Paulo to the left of his goal, and then Ian Bennett, the beneficiary of the good work that time by number 7. Look at the back heel by Hans Dennison to find Bennett.
Well, that was pretty slick. You had Dennis Ferdinand standing there as well. Either one could have been the beneficiary of that, but it came right to like the great goal scorer, Smart always seems to be in the right spot at the right time.
As a defender, you can't assume that your goalkeeper or your partner in the back is going to win the ball. You've got to recover defensively. And that time, in number 19, Greg Kranz was slow in his recovery run and got there just a fraction of a second too late to keep Bennett from knocking it into the empty net.
So Ian, with his second goal tonight, his 4th point on the evening, including 2 assists. He's got his league-leading 17th goal of the season. As a drive by Hernandez is just wide right. Rebound gathered in by Lemos. And for Hans Dennison, he picks up his second assist of the year. 5-0 Milwaukee.
See the ambush pushing their defensive pressure higher up the field now.
Works it over to Lemos as Josh checks around, now plays it back for Leite near side. Leite as the defense shifts. Top of the area, comes through now. Grable can't get it. Andre Haim trying to follow up. And Paulo is there as he slides over to clear it off on the near side. Haynes still battling. Chased down by Gerger Gibson. Andre's still able to get a shot off, but it's high. And the goalkeeper, Paulo, will gather it in for St. Louis. 5-0 Wave with 12.5 to go here in the first half. Mattingly with pressure out to Paulo. Gets it to San Luis now. 4-on-2 for the ambush. Tauzi trying to work it across. Santos is there to poke it away. And the ambush will reload it once again at midfield.
First odd man rush for St. Louis that time, and just too slow in their attack.
A good play by Santos also to get back and break it up.
When the Los Angeles Lakers were winning championships with Magic Johnson, they used to do a drill with Pat Riley. They tried to get the ball from...
Whoa! What a shot there on the conversion by Aguilar. Check it out on the Wisconsin Vision instant replay. That was a big-time goal there. And the Ambush are on the board. They trail it 5-1.
Desperately needed that time for St. Louis. Antonio Aguilar with just a left-footed rocket. We talked about a postage stamp earlier in the game by Max Ferdinand. That one was right up there to stamp the letter as well.
3:14 of the second period. The goal by Aguilar. He began the year with the Cedar Rapids Rampage, had played with the Rampage last season, and he and Pablo da Silva, who has it right now, both acquired in a trade that sent Victor France, St. Louis's leading scorer from a year ago, to Cedar Rapids. Aguilar, a former star at DePaul University back in his college days. Wave trying to work it out of its end as Ruggles goes back to Lemos. Everton right there to pressure the Wave keeper. Pass downfield is chested away by Da Silva. Pablo now has it taken away by Bennett. Turning shot off the mark. Header followed by Ruggles off the mark. Trying to stay with it as the Ambush try to clear. And eventually, foul going to be called on the Waves, Ricardinho.
That was a big goal by Aguilar to stop the bleeding for the Ambush. And
yeah, no doubts. But just as we talk about that, Milwaukee scores again. Bennett sent it in, and I don't know if it was deflected or not by his teammate Ruggles. It would appear it might be Ian Bennett's goal. Nope. Looks like Ruggles did get a piece of it to score, and Milwaukee leads it 6-1.
the initial shot by Bennett was saved by Paulo, and then as the ball's right there, it appears Ruggles was able to nudge it past. Actually, it was the defender that made the save, and then the ball comes off of Paulo into the back of his net.
Bennett should get credit for the assist. That would be his third of the night and his 5th point of the evening. Drew Ruggles with the marker, and Drew now with 4 goals on the season, the third-year pro out of Georgia Southern.
You're saying you think Ruggles touched that one time? I thought it came off the defender and then off of Paulo and in. And we'll have to take another look.
We'll take another look and see what it looks like on the frame-by-frame review. Foul going to be called on the Wave right there, as they're going to get Vega for stomping on Juju Gibson. There you get a good look at Guilherme in his 3rd season with the Wave. Originally started with the Chicago Mustangs in this league. Ball driven in, deflects off Gibson and Vega, and Lemos had to dive back into the goal to prevent it from going across the line.
At one end, those plays are going in the back of the net. And at the other end, for the team that hasn't won in 21 straight games, they're staying a yard or 2 out.
Yeah, that was kind of those last 2 could be a microcosm of the way things have gone in this game and for the 2 respective teams this season. Santos looking over for Leite, getting pressure from Aguilar. Nice play by Lemos to come out and get it. And now as he tries to clear downfield, ends up in the stand. So it's going to be a top-of-the-arc restart coming for the Ambush.
So the Wave practiced all week against a team that would drop back defensively again. And now you're seeing them struggling a little bit with the defensive pressure of the Ambush here higher up the field, as you see Lemos come across and make that last save.
And we'll go with that as one of our State Farm Insurance saves of the game.
And there's another right there by Lemos.
Excellent save there as he stopped Pablo on the follow-up shot attempt after the restart. Everton launches one just above the frame. Now Pablo cracks one off the frame. Well, back-to-back cracks there, and meanwhile, Lemos is knocked down. Might have been in a collision there.
And he may be out,
with
Tom.
Adamson. Oh my goodness! You see the goalkeeper laying there, right in front of the goal. Boy, they called the training staff out there quickly. It's after a couple of close misses by the ambush, and then I didn't really see what the contact was. You see Corey Adamson trying to describe the situation. So we'll have to see if we can get a replay and see exactly what happened. Boy, this certainly would be a tough loss to the Wave. Let's see if we can see it right here. Whoa.
You see that collision with number 4, Adamson. It looked like Lemos might have cracked his head, the back of his head that time on the Panther Arena turf.
And anybody who's ever played on these turfs knows they're not very forgiving as you see it again. Adamson was trying to follow up on the blast by Da Silva that was off the frame, and he ended up catching Josh Lemos flush on the play, and then Josh banged his head on the turf, as you said.
It was either banging his head on the turf or it could have been some initial contact that time from Addison. The good news is you see Lemos moving the hands around because it looked for a second like he was out cold.
Certainly no malicious intent on the part of Adamson. He was just trying to follow the play and see if he could get a redirection on that shot by Pablo, and unfortunately caught Lemos straight on.
It's a safe bet we're going to see a goalkeeper change here, Tom. At the very least, I think they're going to want to take him into the locker room and check for a possible concussion. Times have changed since the days you and I were playing as young kids, Tom. Any injury to the head, you're going into the locker room and they're going to make sure that you're fit to come out and play again. Lemos now sitting up in front of the Wave goal.
Rafa Diaz, the backup, is starting to get stretched out. And I guess fortunate that he was on the lineup sheet tonight. A lot of teams these days just dressing one keeper. Saw that happen the other night in El Paso, where the Coyotes only had one goalkeeper dressed. The goalkeeper got injured in the first half. They had to go with a field player as the keeper the rest of the game.
There you see Rafa, the Waves' backup goalie, number 82. And look at Lemos, not looking like all the faculties are working at full capacity right now.
No, I'm sure they're not. And boy, again, Josh has just played so tremendously for Milwaukee, and would certainly see a blow if he had to miss extended time. No question about that. Meanwhile, talk about the Waves' next home game coming up, December 31st at 5 o'clock, the annual New Year's Eve Day game against the Kansas City Comets here, as Josh Lemos finally coming to his feet, and I'm sure it's going to take him a little bit to shake the cobwebs out here. Rafa coming over to wish him well. And I'm sure Josh's head is going to be aching for at least a little while. He's a pretty tough competitor, Josh Lemos. You know, if he gets knocked out of the lineup, it's not because of just a little bump, that's for sure. There's Rafa Diaz, who'll come on to make his second appearance of the year. As I mentioned earlier, he had only been in one other game for the Wave this year. That was in their 9-2 victory at St. Louis back on November 12th.
Take a look at Diaz there in the Milwaukee net. You said it, he hasn't been in for quite some time here, Tom, and I guess if there's any good news for Rafa, he's coming in with a 6-1 lead. Got the final 9 minutes here before halftime to get himself going a little bit.
Not much time to warm up. Got to be ready to go, but he is a veteran. Second year with Milwaukee. His fourth year in this league, played at Detroit prior to coming to Milwaukee. The now defunct Detroit Waza Flow. Takeaway there, Everton went down, no call. Max and Ian coming forward. Max with a couple of step-overs. Tried to nutmeg the keeper, Paulo, and he's able to cover up.
There was actually 4 step-overs that time, Tom. I was counting them. Get to this point of the game, you're winning 6-1. A little bit of flair, some flash starts to come out with both Ian and Max. I was waiting for it. It would have made Cristiano Ronaldo proud with that little flurry of step-over moves.
Ian Bennett with a takeaway, but Paulo able to make a nice stop to prevent Bennett from scoring again. Ian already tonight with 2 goals and 3 assists.
2 goals and 3 assists, and you consider that the ambush leading scorer, Everton, I believe with 12 points. So in one half of soccer, you got one of the Wave players accumulating almost half of the total of the leading scorer for the ambush.
Ricardinho was impeded by the official on the far side, but still able to keep possession. Midway through the second period, Wave trying to extend their 6-1 lead. They were up 4-0 at the end of 1. Takeaway by St. Louis as Clayton puts it forward.
Twice this season, we've seen the Wave with big leads and then lose their concentration a little bit late in the game. It'll be interesting to see if they can play the entire 60 minutes here tonight and with a focus on both sides of the ball. Told Giuliano after the last time it happened, I said, if that's the only problem you have is you build big leads and then lose your concentration, you're in a pretty good place to be.
That's not a bad situation to deal with if that's the worst you got.
Absolutely. We used to have that problem when I played with the Canton Invaders. We had a similar team where we were dominating the old AISA, and we used to run into that problem. Get a big lead, lose our concentration a little bit, but still win by 3 or 4 goals.
All right, Rafa Diaz going to move it forward. Sets up Andre. Little touch, looking for Renault coming by. Play broken up. And now Aguilar. He's got the only goal so far for St. Louis. Kane got put down, no call. Acosta will play it to the goalkeeper, Paulo. And all the way back the other way.
Saw number 2, Tenzin Rampa, just play the ball back to Rafa. Tenzin, the Wave captain, celebrating a birthday tomorrow. You know, Tom, you celebrated a birthday yesterday. Tenzin tomorrow. Happy birthday to both you and Tenzin.
Well, thanks, Art. And Tenzin will still have a lot more to celebrate than me going forward. I can assure you of that. He's only 32. Timeout as we are past the midway point of the second.
So close. Who's celebrating his birthday here in the PCI zone? So if you guys come to another birthday, don't you wish you had these seats every day?
I do, these are great.
When you,
Also, did you hear when I have to sit up there?
I won't tell anybody. When you celebrate your birthday here at the Wave, you get all kinds of stuff and meet and greets beforehand. You get a hat, you get to celebrate your birthday at the Wave. If you want more info, you can find it at MilwaukeeWave.com. Dan, back to you.
All right, Doreen, thank you. Scott, nice to see you again, Mr. Spencer. And a very happy birthday to all the folks celebrating here because of Milwaukee Way. Like Adam Lee, Ryan Space, Frankie Pottinger, Celia Case, Celia, Scotty, Mr. Deschantel, John Kent, Samantha Wise, a very happy birthday to Milwaukee Way's very own Samantha Reagan. And happy birthday to Tintin Rapa and Mr. John Trent. His 75th birthday, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Trent celebrating here with your Milwaukee Way.
All right, we're back to the action here. 6-1 Wave leads it with 5:24 to go in the first half. St. Louis Ambush with it. They go left to right as you look at the action here from the UW-Milwaukee Panther Arena in Milwaukee. Ruggles trying to play it upfield. It deflects into the stands. Ambush will kick it in from the far side.
Ruggles just outside the yellow line, so that play goes to the side instead of the top of the arc.
And Ian Bennett going to get called for the foul. A little bit too aggressive, trying to pry it away from his former teammate, Pablo da Silva.
Once again, though, I love the defensive pressure by the Wave all-star, number 26, Ian Bennett.
Ian comes up with it after Guilherme Viega had deflected away. Ambush, as we talked about, they'll go home tomorrow to host Cedar Rapids, which is in a barn burner tonight. Second quarter score, 6-5. Cedar Rapids leading the Kansas City Comets.
Goals galore. 6-5 in the second, huh?
Goals galore tonight on the football striped field in Cedar Rapids.
Hope you had the over in that one, Tom.
Oh, they are going to go through it tonight, that's for sure. Ambush will be home tomorrow to host Cedar Rapids, 3:05 at the Family Arena in St. Charles. Milwaukee will be off until next Friday as Leite gets stumped on the play, and Wave is going to go on the power play. Take a look one more time.
Was a nice weighted pass that time by Rafa to spring Marcio into the attack, and Causey just a little bit late that time. He's got the hands up.
Side of the penalty at 11:02 as Causey goes for tripping. So the Wave on the power play. Wave has had a pretty good power play once again this season. First power play for either side. Wave is 9 for 14 at 64% this season.
As a defender, you're taught to get out quickly to the ball to pressure and then slow down, get sideways and low to the ground. And Causey never slowed down. He kept coming forward, and it was a poor decision to go in there to challenge Leite. And he dumped Marcio and took the 2-minute penalty.
Ambush, not a great penalty killing team, but much improved over last year. They've stopped 8 of 13 for 62%.
Did you get that, Tom? Quick, slow, sideways, low. I don't know what margine means, but I know what quick, slow, sideways, low is.
Leite running the power play. He's got Max Ferdinand to his right, now Ricardinho to his left. Ricardinho with a shot, save Paulo. Robert Renault and Ian Bennett down low.
1 minute in the power play.
Acosta, Pepe, Mattingly, and Pablo, the penalty killers. right now for St. Louis. Marcio working against his former teammate, among others, Pablo, on that penalty kill. Ricardinho tracked it down, but his pass across, broken up by Mattingly, and the veteran from Drury University sends it downfield.
Robert Acosta, number 3 for the Ambush, is showing Marcio to his right foot, and that's not where you want him to go. Watch Marcio take him to the right.
Now Max trying to center on the play for Renault. Still alive for Milwaukee with 15 seconds to go on the man advantage. Max trying to center in the middle for Renault, couldn't get it. Max tracks it down. Max circling, and eventually had it taken away, poked away. Renault with it. Ferdinand rubs it off. Renault shots, and Mattingly, I believe, got back to block it at the post. Penalty expires. As you see, Causey hustling out of the box. Marcio with a shot that's blocked, and a corner kick for Milwaukee. I'll give the Ambush credit for a good penalty kill there.
Well, they did kill the penalty off, and Chris Mattingly with a big block, the Ambush captain. He's always among the league leaders in block shots, and that time, a big block that time on Leite.
Ferdinand over the top. Renault trying to get into the area, but a good stop by Pablo. And now all the way back, Rafa has to play it. In case you're just joining us, Josh Lemos was the starter again for Milwaukee tonight, but he was literally knocked out of the contest a few minutes ago. Shot by Hernandez, and Rafa gets back to make the save.
Good hands that time by Rafa. Catch that one clean.
Rafa, the 35-year-old veteran, now in his second year with the Wave. Marcio gets it back from Max. Trying to come in at an angle. Good sliding tackle there to break it up. And
Crams that time for the Ambush. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah, no, that was good. Definitely good play there. I think Marcio thought he had a little more time than it turned out. Last minute of play, first half. Ian Bennett is taken down, and it's going to be 2 minutes for Everton.
If you're going to defend Max Ferdinand, Marcio Leite, Ian Bennett, you play their right foot. And the Ambush consistently in this game have been giving the right side to those players. And that's 2 times now that they've committed 2-minute penalties. This time it's Everton.
14 of the second quarter. Everton goes for tripping. So the Wave will get another crack at the power play. St. Louis just killed one off a few minutes ago. Renault bangs one in from a tight angle, came all the way out to Ricardinho. Nice little move there to get away from Pepe. Now moves it across. Max will tee one up, drives it wide left. Rebound, Bennett in the middle. In tight, could not finish it. 20 seconds in the half. Penalty will carry over to the third quarter if the Wave doesn't score. Max with a shot, and Paulo able to cover up.
That pass by Marcio just a little bit behind Max. He didn't get as much on it as he would have liked, and Paulo was able to make the save.
And that's going to do it for the first half. So Wave will keep the man advantage for the first minute 14 of the third quarter. Excellent first half for Milwaukee, and that man right there, the coach of the Milwaukee Wave, Giuliano Oliviero. Stay with us as Van McNeil will be down on the field to interview Coach Oliviero, but by and large, with a 6-1 lead for the Wave, I would think Giuliano pretty happy with the first half.
No, I don't think there's any. It's a team that you just beat 4-3 in overtime at third place, and this is what we talked about earlier today on the phone, to get that big lead by halftime and force them to come out. And we'll see Van McNeil interview Coach Oliviero here in a second. Van decked out in his Polar Express gear tonight.
Get a load of
that. All right,
that.
guys, here with Milwaukee Wave head coach Giuliano Oliviero. You got to like what you're seeing here in the first half, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, our offense is really clicking, and on the defensive side, to give up only 1 goal in a half in arena soccer, it's not easy to do. So really happy with the defensive side of the ball. Offensive side's been great. You know, we're on our second power play, back-to-back power play, so we'd like to get one early in the third quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. St. Louis has been shutting us down there. Of course, the big story here, we see Josh Lemos getting carted off by our friends at Midwest Orthopedic Specialty Hospital. What do you know as of right now?
He took a really hard knee from Corey Adamson to the side of the face, and you know what? We don't know the extremity of how bad it is, but he's pretty groggy right now, and we'll check on him right now.
Any sign of him returning to this game later, or are we under concussion protocol?
We're under concussion protocol. We're going to stick with Rafael Diaz. He's been training great. He works really hard at training every day. He's been great for us, so we're going to stick with Rafa.
All right, another 30 minutes to go. Head coach of your Milwaukee Wave, Giuliano Oliviero. We got another half to go, Wave fans. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Milwaukee Wave Soccer. Experience Wisco Hotels, a broad selection of quality hotels throughout the state of Wisconsin for the value-minded traveler. Whether you're looking for a hotel in Milwaukee, Madison, Fond du Lac, Appleton, or Oshkosh, Wisco Hotels has you covered with great service, comfort, convenience, outstanding hotel rates, special hotel promotions, and so much more. To book your room or to get more information, visit wiscohotels.com. Wisco Hotel Group, proud partners of your Milwaukee Wave. The Milwaukee Wave presents the State Farm Save of the Game. In the Wave's home opener against Cedar Rapids, goalkeeper Josh Lemos showed no signs of a sophomore slump as he came up big time after Rampage goalie Brett Petrusek came out of the box and attacked to no avail. Lemos had a save percentage of .462 on the night, along with 13 shots against and 7 goals against, and of course he's pumped up. The State Farm Save of the Game, brought to you by State Farm, here to help life go right. In New Berlin, contact Matt Teresi at 262-427-2227.
You could be my love, even if the sky is falling down. I know that we'll be safe and sound.
So many Americans struggle with finances. Starting today, State Farm is here to help, giving us all the chance to simply sit down and learn. Visit letstarttoday.com or talk to an agent.
We're safe and sound.
Go where the pros go for chiropractic care, massage therapy, and exercise rehabilitation. Goodyear Chiropractic Health Center, the official chiropractor and massage therapist for the Milwaukee Wave.
clears it off the line. Oh! Rafa clears it off the line. Oh!
Attacker, so put myself in the right spot, and I've been working on saving balls off the line, so it paid off. Oh, there he goes. The ice.
for all your construction needs.
I just got to move these over so Art can see them. All right. We are just about set for the start of the third period as we adjust our video screens up here in press row. It's amazing, Art. We've got literally access to 3 MASL games at one time, possibly unprecedented in league history. In overtime in Harrisburg, 5-5 with the blast and the heat, and getting ready for second half action. Cedar Rapids 7-5. The Rapids leading the Kansas City Comets. Here, of course, our game, the Milwaukee Wave up 6-1 as we get ready for the third quarter. Big story offensively was Ian Bennett, 2 goals, 3 assists in the first half. And the other part of the IMAX tandem, Max Ferdinand, with a couple of goals as well. The third part of the RIMAX trio, Robert Renault, picked up an assist. But I guess the bigger story would be the unfortunate knockout of Josh Lemos, Wave goalkeeper, on that collision with Corey Adamson. And so Josh had to leave the game. Rafa Diaz now has been inserted. Rafa, of course, a veteran who was with the Wave last year. Initially split time as a starter with Josh Lemos before Josh succeeded in the job. So Giuliano Oliviero very confident, but of course, you know, our thoughts really with Josh Lemos, and hopefully he's going to be okay.
It was a literal knockout, as you said, Tom. It was actually Corey Adamson's knee, Giuliano Oliviero, the Wave coach, that hit Lemos in the side of the head, or the face, as Jules said. And he went back. The good news is he walked off the floor under his own power, and but concussion protocol. I'm sure the doctors are monitoring Josh, and as you said, we hope he's okay. But Rafa Diaz in the nets here for the Wave in the second half.
And again, we'll keep you updated on the other games as they conclude in conjunction with this one. I think we may have to build a customized stand here, Art, in order to accommodate this. Well, you had these much better balanced before.
Well, if there's going to be a customized stand, Tom, you're going to build it, because that is definitely not my forte. Woodworking in high school, I didn't. I was busy hanging out with the wrong crowd in the parking lot at lunchtime while you were doing woodworking class.
Underway, third quarter. Wave in their home black uniforms with the neon yellow numbers and trim. They go left to right as we look at it. Now Milwaukee will have the man advantage for the first 75 seconds, carrying over from the tripping penalty to Everton late in the second quarter. Looking to pad their 6-1 lead. Marcio with a good look, but he drove it high. Ricardinho reloads. Wave still with 30 seconds to go on the man advantage. Ferdinand off the end board, and Paulo was able to stick a leg out and initially collect the possession, but now Milwaukee gets it back.
15 seconds in the power play.
15 to go. Ricardinho drives one in wide left. Bennett follows, shot and goal! Ian Bennett on the power play. He's got the hat trick tonight. And Milwaukee leads it 7-1.
Ian Bennett, let's take a look at the Wisconsin Vision instant replay. The shot by Bennett deflects that time off of Costa at the far post. If you're a defender, you got to get your hips turned up the field so that if the ball hits you, it's going to come out and not go back towards your own net. And that time, Acosta was not able to get those hips turned, and the ball deflects off of him into his own net.
Ian with his 18th goal of the season.
Tom, I'm from St. Louis, so whenever the ambush are not playing, sorry, whenever the Ambush are not playing the Wave, I'm always rooting for the St. Louis Ambush. But it's a little frustrating seeing a lot of these players make the same mistakes over and over again defensively.
There's the shot up in the stands as Greg Kranz could not get that one on target.
A lot of pride in St. Louis for their soccer teams. A rich tradition of soccer history in St. Louis.
Now Renault trying to run onto that one, and his header is turned away by Paulo. Great save there.
And the fans have supported this team for years and years. Brian Roth, their general manager, works his tail off getting people into the crowd, getting people into the stands. And at some point, these players have got to start playing a little bit better and winning some games for the fans, for the city, and for Brian Roth.
Well, it's been frustrating, no question about it. And again, you talk about the glory days of the Ambush. As you pointed out, Art, that was a team that battled the Wave for the league championship back in '98. St. Louis won 2 titles under the Ambush banner back in '95 and '99. As Giorgio Gibson get called for the foul. And the great players, Daryl Duran, Kevin Hundelt, Joe Reiniger, who of course then eventually played for the Wave for several seasons.
Mark
Jamie
Moser,
Swanner, Mark Moser,
Steve Kuntz,
my goodness,
Steve Maurer.
Save by Paulo as he robs Ricardinho. Boy, what a save there. And normally we talk about State Farm Insurance save of the game posted by one of the Wave keepers, but well, you have to take a look at that one as a save of the game, possibly, if the Ambush get back in this thing.
You talked about the Ambush. You go back to the early years in the 80s of the Steamers, St. Louis Steamers, and the great players that they had. Greg Mikowski, Steve Petcher, Sam Bick, Tony Bellinger, Carl Rose, Slobo Ilievsky, Manny Cuenca. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
The Cacciatoris.
The coaches, Pat McBride, Don Popovic. You know, there's been so much history in St. Louis, and you just hope that this team eventually gets off the schneid and starts winning some games.
Well, it'd certainly be a great thing for the league if they did, no doubt about that. Top of the arc restart. And they work it to Bennett's. And a good save there again by Paulo. Boy, he is starting to heat up here in this one. That's 3 great saves already here in the second half. Wave has the only second half goal on the opening power play. Bennett lays it off. Marcio centering across. Ian, a back heel in the middle, and Paulo was able to knock that one down. Marcio sending across to either Ian or Max. But Paulo able to prevent Milwaukee from scoring again. Now takeaway. Max trying to cut over, but a good job there by Mattingly to come across and prevent him from doing so. Bodies going down, but they play on. Here comes Aguilar. He's got the only goal for the Ambush, and he almost got another one there as that one just trickled through the hands of Rafa Diaz. Now kept alive 3-1 in the zone. Aguilar had the pass knocked down over Everton, and a nice save there by Rafa. There's a great save, and another great save by Rafa. Boy, how did he keep that second one out of there?
The first one I thought was the most impressive. The save on Everton at the far ball. An extended flurry that time by St. Louis, and Rafa equal to the task.
Now San Luis trying to set up Aguilar coming down the middle, couldn't get it to him. And Andre Hain is detained as he was trying to gather that one in. Acosta got called for the foul there. You got to look at Acosta, the veteran out of Wartburg College. Art, you know where Wartburg is?
I no idea.
Waverly, Iowa.
Okay.
They've had a pretty good Pretty good D3 program there.
I lived in Iowa for a little bit, Tom.
I remember our buddy Jimmy Banks, who, of course, a longtime coach at MSOE, took his greatest MSOE team there to the playoffs against Wartburg. I want to say it was an Elite 8 game back in 2014.
I lived in the capital of Iowa, Tom. You know what the capital of Iowa is?
Is that Des Moines?
That's right.
How'd you enjoy Des Moines?
It was good. Our postman's name was Buck Buchanan. Remember Buck Buchanan from the
Kansas City Chiefs? Yeah.
Wasn't the same Buck Buchanan, but I thought that was pretty cool to have a postman named Buck Buchanan.
That's pretty cool. What did you like better, Des Moines or Oklahoma City?
I lived there from the time I was 2 to 6, so I don't much remember much about Des Moines. Definitely liked Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City had it going, man.
Mini Dallas.
Oh, those are the days of the 100-degree weather, sitting by the pool, play a little soccer at night. Good stuff.
We did play a lot of soccer out by the pool. Myself, Peter Knezik, Tommy Alioto, and Kenny Killingsworth. Great 2-on-2 games that we had in OKC.
Oh, Hans Dennison throwing the shoulder, and he's going to go to the penalty box. I don't think Hans meant that to be quite as vicious as it turned out to be. Let's take a look at it again. But, boy, he really rocked.
He hit him like Buck Buchanan. Would have hit Jimmy Hart playing quarterback for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Again on the Wisconsin Vision Instant oh my goodness. He caught Pepe right on the jaw and he dropped like a sack of potatoes. Hopefully Pepe's gonna be okay.
And you saw Hans's reaction to the call, but there's really no arguing that one.
Now keep in mind, Hans, he looked like he was playing that like a linebacker on that play, but I'm sure he never played American football before.
Now, there's not many Hanses that are playing in the NFL.
So the ambush go on the power play first time tonight at 5:36 of the third period. Gibson from the corner looking to try to center on the play. Stuart Grable was there to knock it away. And now Gibson going back with impunity to get it back as he dumps Grable, but Stewart gets up. Good try by Pablo to move in and try to convert. Rafa there to stop it. 8.5 to go here in the third. 1:06 on the power play for St. Louis. First power play of the night for the ambush with Dennison for charging at 5:36. Ambush this year with the man advantage. 3 for 11, 27%. So they haven't been scintillating in that department. Wave as far as penalty killing has been very good, among the tops in the league. 87%. They killed off 13 of 15. Moved across, and a good look that time for Adamson, but could not convert.
The Brazilian Clayton that time with a nice ball to Adamson at the far post. And those are the type of opportunities you have to put in the back of the net. If you're not going to score, you at least got to put it on target. On his natural left foot, and unable to hit the target from close range.
They are still in OT in Harrisburg, tied up at 5.
How much they got left in OT there, Tom?
Not much. Again, it's a 10-minute overtime period. It looks like 3 and some change, so they could be headed for a shootout. Might only be a couple of games every season that you actually see end in a shootout. And meanwhile, speaking of shootouts, the offensive barrage continues at the U.S. Cellular Center in Cedar Rapids. 8-7, Rampage leading the Comets. Rampage had a 5-1 lead initially in that game, but the Comets came storming back.
Is Rampage wearing pink jerseys in this one?
I believe so, yeah. Pink celebration going on tonight in Cedar Rapids.
I'm going to say that Baltimore-Harrisburg is going to end before they get to the shootout.
Odds are with, again, 98% of the games end before a shootout. So, well, maybe 95%.
I'd say, no, I was thinking maybe even more than 98%. You said it only.
Very rare that you get more than one. Yeah, I want to say we might have had one last year and one the previous year.
Yeah.
Wave, as you remember, was involved in a shootout with Kansas City going back to the 2014-15. That, in fact, was the New Year's Eve Day game of that year. And speaking of New Year's Eve Day, that'll be our next home game, Mark, coming up New Year's Eve Day, 5:05 p.m. Central Time, here from the UWMP Arena against the aforementioned Kansas City Comets. Call the Wave office at 414-224-WAVE. That's 414-224-9283 to order your tickets. Bennett coming in, slides one wide right. You can also order online at MilwaukeeWave.com. Your source for everything Wave, MilwaukeeWave.com. Tickets, merchandise, summer camps, you name it, MilwaukeeWave.com is your place to get it. Everton bangs one in. And the Ambush have cut the deficit to 5 again. A fired up player coach Everton makes it 7-2.
Dennison was late coming out of the penalty box, Tom. It took him about 5 seconds after the penalty had expired before the fourth official down there in the penalty box got the door open for Hans. It's one thing about the rules at MASL and even in indoor soccer is when you go over to serve a penalty, you have to sit down, and you're at the mercy of the guys in the box to get that gate open for you at the end of the penalty. And that time they were slow to get Dennison on the field, and Everton made him pay at the far post.
So, Everton.
How many seconds after the power play expired was that goal, Tom? It had to have been about 7 or 8 seconds.
That was 2 seconds officially. Time of the penalty is 5:36, and the goal scored at 12 seconds after.
12 seconds, yeah.
7:48.
And it took at least 5 for them to open the gate for Hans Dennison.
Corey Dahl with a couple of attempts. First one turned away nicely by Diaz.
Yeah, the problem with having to sit down in the penalty box is you can't see the play. There's people standing in front of you. And listen, as a player, I want to see what's going on out on the field. I don't need somebody blocking my line of sight when the play's going on. When you're off the field, you want to analyze what's happening on the field to get yourself ready for the next shift.
And off the play, looks like Stefan Sanlouis going to go to the box for dumping Ian Bennett. Well, I don't know what's up with Stefan, as now he and Max Ferdinand starting to get in each other's face. Some frustration about Stefan, the former member of the Wave, and he's going to the box for 2 minutes. Very untimely because Ambush had the momentum from the previous goal. See Sanlouis still getting some words in with the official. Third penalty against the Ambush. Actually, their fourth, including the descents.
Saw St. Louis, the native of Trinidad there. Frustration setting in. But you got to try to take little steps forward if you're a member of the Ambush and coach Everton.
So, Sanlouis goes for assault on Ian Bennett at 8:49. Wave will try to see if they can capitalize on their third power play.
Didn't see what happened behind the play, Tom. Did you see it?
Did not see.
No.
All I saw, Bennett was down and Sanlouis was heading to the box. Ian, Max, Robert, the Rymax trio, along with Leite and Ricardinho, the power play unit for Milwaukee. Here's Pepe for St. Louis as he runs with Causey, and foul going to be called on, well, initially foul call, but they're going to pull out the card now on Marcio Leite. Well, of course, you got to be careful after penalty has already been called against St. Louis. Officials are probably not going to be as lenient with a foul like that.
You saw Marcio's right foot step on the St. Louis penalty killer. Certainly wasn't intentional, but he did step on his foot and take him down. And you said it, Tom, the tendency for referees is to pull out the blue card when there's a foul that's even close to being a blue when a team is on the power play.
9:48, the time of that call. So about a minute after San Luis went for his infraction, Leite goes for tripping. Will be 4v4, excluding the goalkeepers for the next minute, and then St. Louis will have the man advantage for a minute after that.
You saw Marcio pleading his case to the referee in the box, and referee very respectfully listening to what Marcio had to say. Didn't want to escalate Marcio's frustration with the call. Give him credit down there. Good listener down in the box.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. Very professional. Everton has it taken away. Now, Ian thought he had backs behind him, but he was circling the other way. As Clayton eventually came up with it, now they move it near wing. Aguilar, who scored from a similar angle in the first half, back on the other side of the field.
Same spot from where he scored.
Shot in, save Rafa. Heads it out to Renault. All right, penalty has expired to San Luis, so now ambush with the power play for the next minute.
Rafa getting a fair share of work in the Milwaukee net here.
Here comes the Wave shorthanded 2v2. As Renault lost his footing, Ferdinand gets it back. Max doing a good job to kill off some time here as he touches it back for Jonathan Santos.
Saw earlier on the man down, Bennett and Max with a good opportunity. One of the few times this year that they haven't been on the same page up in the attacking zone.
Normally they are in each other's consciousness.
In sync.
Like. Absolutely. All right, ambush still trying to get organized on the power play that has 5 seconds to go. Take away Grable. Short-handed with Ian. Ambush trying to get back. Ian cuts it back. He's going to try to get a shot off. He does, and the save made by Paulo. And Marcio gets called for the foul as he came out of the backs to join the rush.
Count to 10, Marcio. Take a breath. You're up 7-2. It's okay.
One more time in the Wisconsin Vision instant replay. You see him dumping Clayton on the play. Andre Hain. Andre trying to work past Nestor Hernandez, and Nestor just got a piece of him. Meanwhile, they have gone to a shootout in Harrisburg. Tied at 5, so we will keep an eye on that one to monitor it. 9-8 now in Cedar Rapids. Boy, I tell you, Art, you look away from that game for 30 seconds in Cedar Rapids, and somebody's scoring. Penalty coming up here.
Yeah. Nick Ramos has had enough of Marcio and is talking, and Marcio's got to be cool now. He's got 2 penalties already. One more. Going to be sent off.
See Jamie Walter right there, giving a little glance at Marcio.
And the Wave players just need to pull Marcio away.
So Marcio goes for the descent, and he's still keeping
Go back and talk to the fourth official
there.
again.
Well, in Marcio's defense, you normally don't see him get too wound up enough to draw a dissent call, but he probably was pushing the limit.
As a guy who grew up in St. Louis, I've always been opinionated. That's why I like Marcio. Marcio is not afraid to express his opinions.
And I believe, Art, it is a final in Harrisburg. The Heat is celebrating. We'll have to assume they won the shootout.
The Heat's celebrating, and Cedar Rapids is celebrating a goal.
The pink-clad Rampage has scored again. It's 10-8 Cedar Rapids with 1 minute left to go in the third period. Meanwhile, there's a blast by Kranz that's blocked by Tenzin Rampa, deflects out of bounds. As Art mentioned, Tenzin celebrating his 32nd birthday tomorrow. I got a feeling he'll probably get that celebration going after the game tonight, if the Wave hangs on the win.
He said he was going to head to a place called Lucky Ginger's in the 3rd Ward.
Now, breakaway. Renault coming in. Roberts shot off the frame. Oh, great job by Renault to break away from the crowd, and Tenzin Rampa going to get called for the foul.
Now we know that there's other Canadians that weren't the greatest on breakaways as well, namely number 99, Wayne Gretzky.
Well, he certainly scored enough other goals to make up for that. Yeah, I believe Gretzky was quoted as saying that he was kind of glad they didn't have the shootout around back then in those days. One more time on the Wisconsin Vision Instant Replays, you saw Jonathan Santos take out his old buddy Everton.
Let's see if Everton takes a timeout here and tries to set some. They got the piece. They got him and Pablo on there, so he'll probably just run this.
In it comes. Everton lays it off, and the shot and a goal.
Well executed that time by the ambush. A little double pass. Pablo to Everton, and then the finish.
Pepe knocks it in.
You see that shot just get under the left arm of Rafa Diaz. I can't help but think that Rafa might be getting worn down a little bit. He looked really sharp as he came on earlier in the game. He's had a high volume in just the short time he's been in there. And the lack of work is gonna catch up to you at some point.
So Pepe, whose full name is João Pepe, gets his 3rd goal of the season. Everton with the assist. Everton, the ambush's leading scorer, had the previous goal for the ambush, which was his 3rd of the year, and now he adds his 9th assist.
And on that restart, as the ball's put in play from Pablo to Everton, the Wave defender on the near side has got to drop back to cover the far post. And they were a little slow in their rotation to get back behind Rafa. Not sure that they would have been in position to make the save anyway, but they were a little slow in their rotation.
Just over a minute to go here in the 3rd period, and 7-3 is our score now. Ambush with back-to-back goals for the first time tonight.
The score was 7-3 last night in Florida as well. And Florida came roaring back to make it 7-6 against the Blast. So a lot of time left in this one as well.
Next goal could loom fairly big in this game. Vega, nice cut there. Tried to come in with a toe poke, broken up. But Milwaukee's going to reload.
Got to know the tendencies of your opponent. And that time, Gerger Gibson, he's got to know that Vega's going to roll from right to left. How many times have we seen him do it? So if you've studied tape of your opponent, you're going to know that that's his go-to move. And that time, Gibson nowhere near Viega as he cut over from right to left.
Clock ticking down here in the 3rd as the Wave works it patiently on its defensive half, and doesn't look like they're going to have time to get a shot. Well, it was a late shot by Ian Bennett. So the ambush outscores Milwaukee 2-1 in the 3rd period. And they're still hanging in there as we go to the 4th. This is Wave Soccer. Wave leading the St. Louis Ambush as we come to the fourth quarter. Tom went along with the Wave Hall of Famer Art Kramer. Glad you could join us for tonight's contest. And Art, the Ambush is not going away anytime soon.
No, back in it, 7-3. We talked about Florida-Baltimore last night. Florida pulled their goalie with about 10 minutes left in the game and really turned things around on the sixth attacker. I'm not saying Everton should go to it yet, but wouldn't be a bad idea around the 10-minute mark here to possibly try to employ that tactic against the Wave.
Ambush with the momentum. They scored the last 2 goals of the third period, Everton and Pepe, with Everton assisting on the latter one. Meanwhile, Ian Bennett's been the big offensive star for Milwaukee tonight. 3 goals and 3 assists. That man right there, Marcio Leite, will be in the penalty box for another
talking to the
4+
official.
Marcio went to the box late for a dissent. This is one of 4 games going on tonight in the MASL. One is already in the books. A 6-5 Harrisburg victory at home against Baltimore in a shootout. Meanwhile, Cedar Rapids has just scored again, and the pink-clad Rampage lead the Kansas City Comets 11-8 early fourth period action in Cedar Rapids tonight. And just getting underway tonight in Tacoma, the Stars against Soles de Sonora in what you might call a series of urgency, Art, between those two teams. Back-to-back games in Tacoma this weekend. The 1-5 Soles against the 2-5 Tacoma Stars. Ambush with it. They go left to right as we look at the action. St. Louis will turn around quickly after this game and go home tomorrow to host the suddenly red-hot Cedar Rapids Rampage tomorrow at 3 o'clock at Family Arena. That should be a good one. Hope you fans of St. Louis get out there and get a chance to check that one out.
I like the way the Ambush has battled here in the second half. They were down 6-1 at halftime. They've +1 here in the second half.
Pablo lays it off. Krantz with a shot that deflects off the far post. Oh, unlucky for Greg Krantz. He had one there.
Deflected off the far post, came back and hit Hans Dennison. And fortunately for Dennison in the Wave, that ball stayed out.
Oh, Stuart Grable, too aggressive with the tackle. He is going to the penalty box. And he really left the official no choice there. That was a late challenge, and he got him for tripping. And so, Rampage back on the power play.
See that replay of the ball coming off of Dennison and staying out. Talking about it, that being a microcosm of what's happened with both these teams this year. You see the balls bouncing off the Ambush players back into their own net. See Stuart Grable in the penalty box there. What a great season Stuart Grable has had. Very unsung defender for the Wave. He, Tenzin Rampa, Viega do a lot of the dirty work marking the other team's top forwards. Don't call their names quite often, but they do a stellar job defensively on the Wave back line.
Renault shorthanded, had it knocked away, but now Ruggles finds Ian Bennett, and Ian off the mark as he was looking to pick that top far corner. But yeah, getting back to Stuart Grable. Excellent season, Art. And especially, you know, with some of the key defenders from last year having not played yet. Chan Vandergriff, also Daniel Chamelet. Both hoping to get those guys, the latter two, back within the next couple of weeks. But Stewart has been called on to play some strong minutes, and he certainly has done so.
Where you really got to give Coach Giuliano Oliviero, Marcelo Fontana, even Nick Vorberg going back for a few years, the progression and development of some of their younger players has been impressive. Drew Ruggles is a name you can mention and throw into that mix, but Grable and Tenzin Rampa as well. You start to talk about Chad Vandergriff being added to that mix of defenders. Tremendous athleticism and 1v1 defending ability that this team possesses.
Vandergriff, a former member of the St. Louis Ambush, spent his first 3 seasons in St. Louis before coming to the Wave last year. Chad has been out with a broken toe since preseason.
Former captain of the Ambush.
Shot just high as Everton almost got the ambush back within 3. Now Pablo with it. Pablo acquired from Cedar Rapids earlier this year. Remember, he and Everton were teammates there a year ago. Everton, the player coach for the Rampage a year ago, now doing the same in St. Louis. Jonathan Greenfield, the former member of the Wave, now taking over as player coach with Cedar Rapids and doing an outstanding job thus far. Rapids being very patient with this power play possession. 15 seconds left, man advantage. Everton surveys, lays it off. Giorgio Gibson tried to bang one off the end board. Ian Bennett is there to deflect away. Clayton gets it back. Now swing it around to Adamson and drives one up in the stands. So looks like the Wave is going to kill this one off. In fact, they have. And a big penalty kill for Milwaukee, which again have been a very efficient penalty killing team coming in tonight's game. They've stopped 13 of 15 coming into this weekend's action.
The ambush had Clayton out there at top running the power play. The Wave plays a diamond defensively on their man down. So the opponent would put 2 on top, and I'm a little surprised they don't put Everton and Pablo out on top and let Clayton go down low. He just doesn't have the experience at running a power play in indoor soccer the way that Everton and Pablo have. I get trying to teach the guy and allowing him to learn, but I think you do more of that in training, and you can also learn by watching 2 guys that have a lot of experience at running a power play. That's Everton and Pablo.
Vega cracks a shot that's blocked by Causey, and he felt that one as it came up and hit him square in the noggin. Fortunately, he was able to turn his head a little bit before it went up in the stands.
You look at the goal that the ambush scored on the restart, where it was Pablo that gave the little square ball to Everton, who made the pass down low, and that's the same type of thing you can get on your power play with those 2 guys out on top. Not to mention that Everton strikes a really nice ball from the outside as well.
He can certainly hit the ball from anywhere with both feet. Everton, the former star in Milwaukee, talked about his 6 seasons here, 136 games, 73 goals, 50 assists during that time, and a 2-time champion. Follow-up shot, Andre Hayne, and that's caught Mattingly, I believe. Or was that Corey Dahl?
That's Chris Mattingly.
Chris Mattingly. Take a look at this one after the header by Renault just wide, and watch this. Ooh.
He's a tough St. Louis kid, though, Tom, Chris Mattingly. Take that shot all day long.
Said by Art Kramer up here in the booth. But, no, I do agree that St. Louis guys are
come on, man. Steve Petcher, Greg Mikowski.
St. Louis guys are pretty tough soccer guys.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to disagree with that. Chino, Angel Curiel with a good job to hold off Everton, and now takes a shot from Causey.
And that's twice tonight that Jake Causey, poor decision making as to when to dive in and challenge. Can't fault the effort, but you've got to be intelligent in your approach. Watch this right now. Everton's there. Here comes the double team from Causey, and bam, he's late. He's just late. And, you know, is that a 2-minute penalty? Probably not. But anytime you're along the boards, the referee's going to call that type of penalty when they see the player go into the boards.
Wave goes on the power play at 4:57 of the 4th period. Causey with his 2nd blue card of the night. This one for boarding after an earlier tripping call in the first half. Well, neither team has converted on a power play tonight. This will be the 3rd attempt for the Wave. St. Louis has had 4 opportunities, although the ambush did get one very near power play goal. Happened just a few seconds after the power play expired.
Jake Causey, a native of England, and he'll learn. He's going to learn. got to be smart in your challenges defensively.
Ian Bennett, the league's leader in power play goals. Ferdinand sends one into the middle. Renault's attempt to redirect in, covered up by Paulo. I'll tell you, Paulo has played an excellent game in the nets tonight as far as stopping shots.
Better in the second half. There were some soft goals in the first half, but he has rebounded here in the second half.
He has definitely kept them in it here in the second half. Wave led it 4-0 at the end of one, 6-1 at halftime. 7-3 here entering the fourth period, which is still our score with 9 minutes to go. Max will tee one up. Save made by Paulo. Ricardinho gets it back. Milwaukee still trying to see if they can get a power play tally tonight. Max shot is high. Ricardinho will play it back for Liete. A lot of experience on this Wave power play unit.
30 seconds in the power play, 30.
Still with 30 to go in the man advantage as Max sends it in the end with an attempted redirection that's cleared out. Wave again being very patient. Renault looks for Marcio. Now he'll fake the left foot shot, move it across. Max sends it in the middle and Ian cannot get the shot off. And the ambush clear, and that's gonna kill off another power play.
Everything but the finish there for the Wave.
Here's Causey sprinting back out of the penalty box as Late puts one just barely off target. Wave will be in Kansas City for the next contest. That's this upcoming Friday, December 22nd, down at the Silverstein Eye Centers Arena. You can join our MASL broadcasting colleagues, Nick Vasos, Brian Budzinski, for the play-by-play call there on Friday night. And then Milwaukee comes back home for its next game after that, the New Year's Eve Day game against the Comets. That's Sunday, December 31st at 5:05. Call the Wave office for tickets, 414-224-WAVE. You can also order online at MilwaukeeWave.com. Well, Paulo and St. Louis call timeout. Actually, the media timeouts in effect, and both teams will talk things over here for the final 7.5 minutes to go in this contest.
Talked about Jake Causey and his decision-making there defensively and how he's going to learn. There's another guy that used to play for Kansas City, Missouri Comets, St. Louis, and Brian Harris, that struggled with that earlier in his career and then became much better in his decision-making. And Brian Harris ended up developing into one of the best attacking defenders in indoor soccer.
Yeah, Brian was a good one. No question about it. The Comets could certainly use him back. There's no doubt about it. Speaking of the Comets, they have responded with a couple of goals in Cedar Rapids. It's now 12-10 with about 7 minutes left to go. I'll tell you, the fans in Cedar Rapids, if you want to see goal scoring, they're getting their money's worth tonight out there. Meanwhile, they're underway in Tacoma. Soles de Sonora and the Tacoma Stars. There.
You mentioned the score 12-10 in Cedar Rapids, and Kansas City's got to figure out whether Gasson is going to be their guy in the goal. Think about the Kansas City Comets, Missouri Comets. They've always had outstanding goalkeeping. Danny Waltman, Boris Pardo.
Stephen Patterson from last year.
Stephen Patterson. They're just giving up too many goals this season. And I'm sure Gasson, we've seen flashes that he's going to be very good. He's got to take care of the ball coming out of the back.
Well, Everton's decided now is the time to make the move, so he has inserted himself as the sixth attacker with 7.5 to go. You kind of alluded to it, Art, that we might see it a bit early, but you know, when you're trailing by 4, 7.5 minutes, I guess, isn't all that much time, so they're going to give it a try and see how they do right here.
I always like to figure a goal for every 2 minutes, and that's how you would determine when you pull them.
Pablo moves it across to the far side. Wave has defended the sixth attacker pretty well this year. They haven't always been the strongest in the league at doing that in the last couple of years, but But they've had a lot of practice going against it this year, and they've done pretty well so far.
I was telling you off camera earlier, Tom, that when I was coaching in Toronto, I pulled the goalie with about 10 minutes to go, trailing by 13, 14 points. I'll hold my thought here as the Wave takes over.
Everton still hasn't gotten back to his defensive end, but Ambush able to win it back. Go ahead, Art.
But that 14-2, we were down, something like that, in multiple point scoring, and it turned into 26-2. And after the game, the Toronto media, they couldn't understand why we pulled the goalie with 10 minutes to go. They're used to hockey, and they could not understand it.
Bennett's attempt for the empty net is blocked by Pablo. Ian stays with it as Everton retreats back to his defensive end. Yeah, I don't think they ever saw the Leafs pull the goaltender when they were trailing 4-0 midway through the second.
Sitting in front of the Toronto media and trying to explain how 14-2 went to 26-2, there really wasn't a good reason why I did it that I could come up with for the Canadian media.
Ah, those were the days.
I think I said something like, if I would have had Davey Keon and some of the Maple Leaf players, we might have had a better chance.
Where was Bill Barelko when you needed him, huh? Ambush working it with the extra attacker. There's Everton, who donned the jersey. Now Pablo on the left foot. That's his favored striking foot. Shot was blocked there. Robert Renaud blocked a couple of shots tonight. Robert, as usual, has been everywhere on the field. And now coming in with a nice move from the corner and converting right there. And that looks like our new star Clayton, who converts. Nice.
And
watch it again, 7-4.
The adjustment now. Everton, Pablo go out top. They push Clayton down low. And there's the goal after just 2 minutes. They pulled it with 7. Here we are at the 5-minute mark. There's their 1.
10:01 of the fourth period. Now, Clayton gets his 4th of the year. He also has 3 assists. You could tell, particularly on that individual effort, that this guy isn't just somebody off the streets that they brought in here. And I got a feeling by the second half of the season, Art, he's going to definitely increase his offensive contributions to this team.
If he can stay healthy, absolutely. He's going to learn the game. It's a different game than futsal.
Rafa Diaz, he has played since the second quarter due to that injury to Josh Lemos. That's been the other story as far as the Wave is concerned tonight. And we'll see what the post-game prognosis for Josh is. Involved in that collision with Corey Adamson in the first half. And just got to hope that he's going to be able to recover in due time. Takeaway by Gibson, but he's going to be called for the handball.
This is the problem now of trying to come back against an experienced team. After the goal, the Wave with a good shift, 45 seconds of possession.
Renaud fires it in! Santos on the assist. And Milwaukee leads at 8-4.
Nice little penetrating ball forward as we take a look on the Wisconsin Vision Instant Replay to Renaud. And number 9 beats Paulo to the far post. And there's your dagger here in this one, as the Canadian beats Paulo low to the right-hand side.
Time of the goal at 11:06.
A lot of great number 9s that have come through the Milwaukee Wave system. Ross Ongaro used to be number 9. Peter Hattrop wore number 9. Greg Howes, the perennial MVP. And now this man, Robert Renaud.
So Ian Bennett, number 4, give it up to Robert Renault for his unselfish pass there. And the Wave has got things back in order.
That's what a goal scorer does too, Tom. That might have been going in. The defender might not have gotten there. You got an opportunity to tap one into the empty net. You do it. You do it. You absolutely do it. Right there, Ian Bennett. That probably was going in anyway. Ian says, why not, man? Especially if part of your contract calls for a bonus at a certain number of goals, you tap those in all day long.
Never have to apologize for
I never
being
did.
the last guy.
I had a lot of those, and I never apologized.
Absolutely. So Renault gets the goal at 11:06. His first of the night, 11th of the year.
But then again, Kenny Bunch, who was the beat reporter for the Journal Sentinel, would have never made me apologize about anything. Kenny was just too nice a guy.
And then Renault follows up with an assist just 23 seconds later on the goal by Ian Bennett, who gets his 4th of the night and his 7th point. Renault with a goal and 2 assists tonight. 11 and 11 for 22 points this year as Andre Haynes bangs that one out of play.
And the Wave, Tom, 5 ahead. 13 total goals scored in this one.
Now Milwaukee had been averaging more than 8 per game.
And there's a foul on Ian Bennett. We were talking before the game, Tom, on how big a favorite the Wave would be in this one. And I told you, I said it's probably about 6-goal favorite, something like that. That's where it would be. And here we are, 9-4 with 2 minutes and change left.
This is where if they had the line in Vegas, it'd be nervous time right now.
If they had it.
Nervous time right now in the sports books following this one.
Could be gearing up for an SVP bad beat right here.
Oh, no question. No question about it.
That's a fun segment to watch, isn't it? The bad beats.
Oh. So another big victory for Milwaukee as they will go to 8-0, which, by the way, as Ian Bennett looking for another.
There's the bad beat right there, Tom.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. And was that Santos again that fed it to him? Plush keeps racking them up. I can only imagine Ivan Campos for Turlock if he's watching this game thinking, man, how come I don't get these kind of goals?
You think Campos is watching the game in Turlock right now? Come on. I could just see him and Adrian Gutierrez sitting around in Campos' living room right now. Talked about it last night. I was watching them play, and I said, back in the days, there was Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon, and they were the Twin Towers. As Bennett's going to get another one here, Tom. Campos is... If Campos wasn't mad before, he's going to be really mad after Bennett scores another one. But Ivan Campos and Adrian Gutierrez for Turlock. The twin what? And you came up with a good one. You said the twin tanks. I thought that's great. Campos and Gutierrez and Turlock, the twin tanks.
They are the ultimate unmovable objects.
They're fun to watch, huh?
Oh, absolutely they are. Well, here comes the Wave again as Renault trying to find Ian Bennett. Ian
Robert's like, I'm not going to give you another one. You took that last one from me.
Well, here they go again. As Marcio sends it wide. Ian was down there trying to poach that one, but taken away.
And then Clayton just slaps Renault right in the face.
Kind of interesting. Ian finally decided to change as he lets Max come on here for the last 25 seconds. Milwaukee is going to tie their team record for longest unbeaten string to start the season. They were 8-0 in 2005-06. So they're going to equal that with a victory tonight to go to 8-0. Ambush will drop to 0-8. And 0-17 against the Wave in the last 4+ seasons. That'll do it tonight. 10-0 Wave. Ian Bennett celebrates 5 goals, 3 assists, 8-point night. And he is now your league's leading scorer with 26 points.
And let's hope that Josh Lemos is going to be okay.
Yeah, that is definitely going to be the major concern, I think, now post-game. Give credit to Rafa Diaz, though. He was ready to play when the Wave needed him.
Came on and looked sharp, and that's not easy to do when you've been that idle in the amount of minutes you played this year. I thought Rafa Diaz came on and did one heck of a job.
Yeah, just a few minutes. By the way, the Wave would like to thank Miter USA for providing today's match balls. Miter, founded in Huddersfield, England, is among the world's oldest sporting goods brands, starting production in 1817. Miter is a proud partner of the Major Arena Soccer League, providing arena-specific match balls to both the MASL and MASL2. The MASL and Miter share a long-term vision to see arena soccer grow in North America. Miter's Astro Division ball is the official game ball for the MASL League play. Miter's Astro Division is designed specifically for play on artificial surfaces, and it features a more accurate flight than the average ball and has a 30% reduced bounce to make it play more efficiently in arena soccer. So both teams combining to knock the Miter Astro Division ball into the net 14 times. 10 for the Wave, 4 for St. Louis. Ian Bennett with 5 goals tonight and 3 assists added in. We're just about ready for the interview with our PCI hardest working player of the game. Looks like Van McNeil has got a candidate down there.
Van McNeil with his Polar Express outfit.
Yeah, what a look tonight, huh?
Yeah, it's also a pajama party here tonight. Tom, did you bring your PJs?
I did not bring my PJs
to that
tonight.
Pajama party?
No, should have remembered them.
Here with the Professional Construction Incorporated hardest working players of the game. We got co-players of the game tonight. Give it up for goalkeeper number 82, Rafa. My gosh, Rafa, you come in under the moment where Josh Lemos goes out. You come in a little cold and you're able to hold face. Talk about today's game. What do we know about Josh?
First of all, thank you for our fans. Always coming here to support the ice. It's so important. That's how we are keeping doing the same job. We are doing an amazing job. We always count with the fans. Thanks so much, fans, for coming. Unfortunately, it's the time to cover him. I think Josh, for me, can be the best goalie of this league. He's doing an amazing job for us, and he get the concussion. We hope that's nothing serious. He came back for the next game. Yeah, but me and Mary, that backup goalies have to be ready to always, if the team need, we got to be ready to support the team.
That was a great effort. Give it up for Rafael Diaz, ladies and gentlemen. One of 2 PCI hardest working player of the game. So Rafa, would you do me a favor and pass the hard hat to this man, Mr. Ian Bennett.
Thank you. Well done, Rafa.
What an amazing night. Again, Ian, playing out of your mind tonight. What do you got to say?
No, man, it was the home crowd. We're all buzzing, man. We were ready for this game after we only beat them 4-3. We wanted to really come out and make a statement, and I think that's what we did today.
What happened there when we see our goalkeeper, Josh Lemos, get taken out the way that he did from Corey Adamson from the ambush? What does that do to the team? Did everyone rally at that second and say, here we go?
Yeah. I didn't really see the play, but obviously we saw Josh. Josh is okay. But again, Rafa stepped in, excellent job, next man up. And that's what we pride ourselves. We got a system, Jules, Cello, Marcio, Rafa, they put a good system in. So if someone goes down, we just pick it up where we left.
All right, our Professional Construction Incorporated.
Can I say hi to my mommy?
Absolutely.
Everybody, you know how we do. We're here. Thank you guys. We appreciate you guys. You know how you do. Happy holidays. You know, have a good Christmas.
Ian Bennett, ladies and gentlemen, your PCI hardest working player of the game. We are coming back with more Wave soccer here, Wave fans. New Year's Eve as the Milwaukee Wave take on the rival. It's going to be a big game. The Kansas City Comets. It's a throwback game with the Marcio Liete bobblehead. New Year's Eve, it's going to be a party here at UW Milwaukee Panther Arena. For Tom Wynn, Art Kramer, and the entire crew here at Panther Arena, my name is Van McNeil, Doreen Michaels too. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for watching Wave Soccer. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.